How do I finish a counseling session well? Good day, everybody. Wayne George from Samway Consulting. You know, a question I often get asked in my supervision sessions that I run, whether it's group supervision or whether I see a counselor one-on-one as a supervisor. One of the questions is, how do I finish a counseling session well, whether it's a one session or maybe looking at, coming to the end of 5-6 sessions together, coming to the end of the journey. How do I end that last session? How do I make sure that my client and I finish on a positive note or on a good note? Always good a note as possible. Well, look, there's basically three things to keep in mind when you are looking at your last session. We like to pop it into three categories, right? So three C's. We call in the three C's. So C number one is consolidate. So basically what that entails is you're looking back over the time that you had together as counselor and client. You've journeyed together over whatever number of sessions. And so what you're doing in that, you ask questions along the lines of, what stood out for you? What are you taking away from these sessions? What have you found most helpful? What haven't you? And so what this does, everybody, it not only helps the clients to focus on, reflect on the journey that you've just been through, and maybe be reminded of some of those helpful tools and interventions that were introduced, but also informally gives you a little bit of feedback, right, as to how the client has journeyed, maybe what worked, what didn't work. And so really it's a two-way street here. It's mutually beneficial to focus in on that, the first C, the consolidation. The second C relates to celebration. So really what you're doing here is, what progress has your client made? What steps forward have they taken in their journey? Maybe and what works well here is a simple scaling tool, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10, when you started seeing me, where were you on that anxiety scale? Where were you on that feeling stuck, that sense of feeling stuck, etc.? So a bit of a scaling question, where are you now, right? Remember, the client doesn't have to, it doesn't mean that the client has to achieve every single one of their goals that they've set for themselves. If they've moved from point A to point B, if they've moved just a little bit closer towards their goal along the journey, then by all means that goes down, as positive movement. So celebrate any growth, any progress that your client has made, irrespective of how small it may seem, right? So by doing that, you're validating the client, you're affirming them, you are actually you're adopting a bit of a strengths-based approach there, because if they've moved from a 3 to a 5, certainly they are able, if they keep going, to move from further up the scale, right? So so celebrate whatever wins that the client has achieved. The third and final C there is coaching. Okay, now here we are talking really about helping the client move from counselor dependence, even though that's not the ideal. We never want our clients to be dependent on us. But inevitably, for whatever sessions you were together, there was a certain level of reliance on you as their counselor. So what you're wanting to coach them here into is to help them move from counselor reliance to really, relying on self, relying on their support networks. If they're a person of faith, relying on God and so forth. And so whatever tools you're able to remind them of, equip them with, just to continue journeying along that path, right? So coaching them, motivating them, encouraging them as they step out. So those are the three C's, everybody. Consolidation, looking back, celebration, where they are now, and then of course coaching, which takes a bit of a forward looking approach. And then of course in your last session, it's always helpful to offer a referral, whether the client takes it up or not. Just have a chat about referral options, what that could look like if the client feels it's necessary to follow through with those. Look, I hope this has been helpful in answering some of those questions, how to handle the last session or how to finish well. Look, keep doing what you're doing, everybody. Counselors, keep counseling. Keep making that positive impact in the lives of those clients that come through your door. Remember, you're doing a great job. You're doing an awesome job. And so keep doing that. And look, if I can support you in any way, if you need to have a chat with a supervisor, feel free to reach out. Happy to support you where I can. Okay, you take care now. God bless.